Hi there, this is Robert Walker here, National Director with Hasbara Fellowships Canada. So for those of you who are following, this weekend is the Conservative Party of Canada National Convention taking place in Halifax. And those of you who are familiar with the work that we're doing know that getting students involved in the wider process, political student unions and beyond is very important. And so today, I'm very excited to be having a live interview with Stacey Granofsky, who is a local community activist from Toronto, and she's at the Halifax Convention Center. Hi, Stacey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. So, Stacey, thank you so much for giving us a couple minutes to chat. I know it's a busy convention. So first, tell us a little bit what's happening there specifically of interest to the pro-Israel community. I understand that there's a vote taking place on Canada's policy towards Jerusalem.
Yes. There is a policy, a resolution on Jerusalem, specifically and these aren't the words of the resolution exactly, but basically similar to the move that Trump made, moving the embassy from to Jerusalem. And I'm not entirely sure. As the sort of conference continues, there's many, many different resolutions on many different topics, and only the top, I think, 10 actually get voted on. And so there's a session this afternoon at 2:15 that I'm looking forward to attending, where they'll have somebody speak to the resolution, for the resolution, and then against the resolution. And then I believe the voting takes place tomorrow, and the delegates are going to have an opportunity to vote then. So that is one of many, many resolutions that are being considered right now at the convention.
And is that the only resolution related to Israel or concerns at the convention?
Yeah, specifically to Israel, that is the one. There's other sort of foreign policy resolutions that may be of interest to like-minded people and supporters, but specific to Israel, in an obvious way, that's the one to look out for.
Okay, and what do you peg the chances of that resolution passing?
Right now, I don't even know if it'll be voted on. There's so many resolutions, and then everybody gets to decide which ones are the most popular, and the most popular ones are the ones that get voted on, and it has yet to be determined which ones those will be. I'll know a lot more later today.
And so what do you think the significance is if the resolution does not get to a vote? Is that a message to the hierarchy in the Conservative Party that, views on Israel simply aren't a priority for most members, or how should that be true?
No, I don't think so. It may not necessarily mean it's not a priority issue. Sometimes it's not the right time. And there's so many resolutions, it's like staggering. It's like a stack of paper, like a manual about all the resolutions that there are, and different people are supporting different things. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the party isn't interested in Israel and issues related to Israel, but it just means that it didn't rise to the top for this particular convention. The sheer leadership also has an opportunity to create policies above and beyond anything that gets decided here. So if the caucus and leadership decide that that's something of importance, or there's a moment in time where that seems like it will be popular or have an opportunity to pass, if that's what the party wants, then he can always go back to it and bring it to light, during when Parliament is in session. Not everything that gets decided here at the convention is final items on the platform. There can be more that are brought forward by leadership at a different time.
Okay, wonderful. And so tell me about, if a young person especially wanted to get involved and say, they want to add their voice to the political system. We have municipal elections coming up. We have a federal election coming up. It can seem pretty overwhelming. How can students, whether it's volunteering or just in general, getting themselves, engaged? Is it finding the campaign manager? Is it a constituency office, the candidate themselves? Sort of how should a person navigate that and find the right person to connect with?
All of the way you described are great entry points for that sort of thing. Certainly the candidate, and in advance of an election, that would be a really smart person to speak to. There's also riding associations, which are the governing bodies for specific ridings in the country, both federally and provincially. I'm not sure how it works municipally, but there's also, you know, amazing organizations that look out for Israel and related issues here in Canada. I'm not sure how many people are aware of CJPAC, the Canadian Jewish Political Affairs Committee. I just attended their brunch. So that's what they look like, and they're an amazing organization, the purpose of which is just to connect people to campaigns, depending on where your interests lie. They're nonpartisan, and they have amazing relationships with a variety of politicians from across the spectrum, all pro-Israel, because that's the point. So any of your students I know that are interested, I know they have internships, and they're very well connected and very well respected. CJA is also here having representation. The professional staff are here, and they're hosting events, and they have hospitality suites, and people come, like-minded people come and meet and greet. And if you're looking specifically for support, you can find a lot of the MPs that are supportive of Israel-related issues at those events and through their staff, lay people like me. So depending on where you live and what your interests are and how you want to get involved, there's so many different ways. I'm happy to be contacted personally. Or like I said, CJPAC is an amazing resource for people that are looking to get involved in a very grassroots way. You don't have to know anything about politics. People get very nervous. This is my first convention. And I'm learning a lot, and the more you go, the more you know, and no need to ever sort of be embarrassed. It's a long learning curve, but it's exciting, and you meet a lot of incredible people, and there's many different ways to get engaged.
All right, wonderful. Now, one more question is, so let's say you have, there's a pro-Israel student leader, who's not politically engaged yet, not politically involved, perhaps not even all that politically literate. In other words, they're not really familiar with the different, stances of different candidates. What are some of the questions, let's say, or some of the, whether asking one-on-one or some of the areas where a prospective voter can compare the different policies related to Israel of different parties?
I mean, you can really ask. I mean, don't be afraid to ask questions if you have specific questions and concerns about issues of any kind. But that's what politicians are here to talk to you about. Their staffers are always happy to speak to people. Again, if you're looking, for an outside source, CJPAC has relationships with MPs across the spectrum, across the country, and they'll be able to tell you who's friendly, who's not as friendly, who you might want to support, who needs your support, and you can, sort of see your way through. It's pretty clear often where people do stand on Israel, although surprises do happen. There are people that are steadfast friends and have always been friends, and then there's other people that, are being taken on trips to Israel, and they're always looking for students to participate on something like that. So there's many, many different ways to figure out, who needs your help, who's worthy of your support. It's just a matter of sort of what you want to do, where you want to get involved, how much time you want to spend. But there's immeasurable ways to make a difference. And I just want to put a plug in for involvement in general in politics. It's critical. We live in a vibrant democratic society, and because Canada is sort of a small pond, right? You could be a big fish in this small pond, and your involvement will absolutely make a difference and go a long way. So I encourage everybody who is interested to take the bull by the horns and just make a call, go online, ask questions, use all the resources we have, because it's a very worthwhile thing to do, and you can make a huge difference.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much, Stacey, for your time, and enjoy the convention.
Thank you.